Welcome back to my channel, Duct Tape Mechanic, and to another episode of my series, Free on Facebook, which is a series of videos which I find things for free, mostly off of Facebook Marketplace, and I show you how to repair them, recycle them, or reuse them in another manner. In this video, I'm going to show you how to repair a Kenmore or Whirlpool front-load washing machine that's not filling. And it also may be giving the FH error code. So if you find this video to be helpful, make sure you subscribe to my channel for more DIY and tinkering videos. Alright, so here's the washing machine in question. As I stated, this video is going to be applicable to pretty much any of the Kenmore HE series. This is an HE3. I believe they go all the way up to HE5 now. And also the Whirlpool Duet series. Basically, the Whirlpool and Kenmore front-load washing machines are pretty much the same. So basically, this machine is giving a FH error code, or you notice that it's not filling up with water. So what could be the cause of that? Well, the first thing you need to do is make sure you actually have water coming in from the supply lines. So after you verify that by maybe loosening this up here and making sure you got water coming in, what we're going to do is we're going to unplug the machine there, and we're going to undo the water lines to make sure that there's no clogs going into the water inlet valves. So with inlet hoses removed, we're going to inspect the filters for the inlet valves to see if they're clogged. In this case, they both look okay. If they were clogged, unfortunately, that does mean you will still have to replace the water inlet valve, because this is not a removable filter like some of them are. But on this particular model, they are not removable. So you will have to replace it. However, if it's not clogged, that doesn't mean that the water inlet valve is necessarily good. It just means it doesn't have this particular mechanical failure. So in order for us to test the valve for an electronic failure, we're going to have to get access to it. And in order to do that, we're going to remove these 3 screws. So we got 1, 2, and 3. Anyway, so once you've removed the 3 screws from the back, we're going to go ahead and push this panel towards the back, then lift it up. So back, then we should just be able to lift it right up and out of there. Alright, so with the cover removed, we have access to the water inlet valves, which I'm going to zoom into. So they are right there. So oftentimes the solenoid on these cracks, and it pretty much prevents the valves from functioning correctly, because this is a coil of wire that creates a magnet which pulls up a plunger when it has a voltage applied to it, and when that coil breaks, it can no longer make that electromagnet. And so what we're going to do is we're going to unplug. There's one for the hot right here and one for the cold, and we're just going to unplug it and test to measure if it's got the correct resistance with a multimeter. To test the valves to see if they're electronically okay, we're going to get our multimeter right here and put it into resistance mode. Then we're going to undo the connector right here. So this was the hot, the yellow one is the hot, the white one's the cold. If you get confused, you can also look at the H and the C on the other side. Basically, we're going to push up on this little tab right there and kind of pull out at the same time. And then I'm going to take this camera off my stand right here to show you that once we do that, we're going to get access to the tabs on the water valves right there, those 2 metal or copper things sticking out. And we're going to be basically using our multimeter in the resistance mode to test those leads. That's basically going to give us a measurement of the resistance of that copper wire that's composes that solenoid. So we got our multimeter It's in resistance mode. And I'm just gonna set it right there so you can see it. And then I'm gonna put the probe, one on each terminal. Doesn't matter what color goes on which. And we should be getting a reading anywhere between 0.7 kilo ohms to 0.9. And we have 0.838 kilo ohms. That tells us that our hot water valve is good and that wire inside of it is not broken or burned up. So that valve is good. And we're going to test the cold water valve the same way. For the cold water, I'm also going to undo the connector right there. Just pull up on the tab and pull out. And then I'm going to put the probes onto the terminals of the solenoid. And as you can see, we're getting an OL. So it means that there's a break in that wire. So that's why the valve's not functioning properly. So if you get an OL, or if you get a resistance value that's really high, that tells us that there's an issue with that coil of that solenoid. So basically when the electricity is applied to it, it's not making that electromagnet that's needed to open up that plunger. So that's why the cold water is not getting in, because there's a break in that coil. So basically, if it fails electronically or if it fails mechanically via the inlet being clogged, the valves need to be replaced. Unfortunately, we just can't replace the hot or the cold in this case. We got to replace the unit as one piece. But it's really simple, and I'll show you that process next. All right, so to remove the valve, all we're going to get is a needle nose plier. Before we do that, we can just remove the connector. So I already had the cold one removed, and I'll also remove the hot one. And you can actually label which one is hot, which one is cold, if you feel like you're going to get confused. But also, we're going to go ahead and get a needle nose plier and loosen up this hose clamp right here. I just pull the hose off. There we go. Alright, so with all the electrical connectors removed and the hose removed, we're just gonna take off this screw right here. Alright, so then after that, we're going to push the valve assembly to the left. If you're facing the washing machine from the front, it's this way. So I'm gonna push it towards myself, and I'm on this side right here. So something like this, like that, and then straight back. There we go, and that's the assembly removed. So as you can tell, it's all one piece. Alright, so once you've obtained the new part, or the new valve assembly, installing it is really simple. It's just pretty much everything in reverse. Now if you're curious on where to get it, I'm going to make it so the valve assembly, the part, it pops up around now in the video. So all you have to do is click on that link and it'll take you to the exact part. So you don't have to search anywhere on where to get it. Because believe it or not, that's one of my most common questions is, hey, where do I get this part? So I've made it easy by adding that little pop-up on the bottom of the screen. It'll take you to the exact part. But anyways, to actually replace this part, we're just gonna go ahead and push it back into the holes right here. But this time we're gonna push it, once it's all the way through, we're gonna push it to the right, like so, and that will hold it into place while we screw in that screw, which is also a T20 star screw. Just gonna go ahead and put the hose back on that barbed connector right there, and just push it all the way, and then put that clamp over the hose. And we're just gonna put the electrical connectors, plug the electrical connectors back in. So we got this one going to the cold, and then we got this one going to the hot. And that's it. That's how you replace the valve assembly. So all we need to do after that is slap on that cover. So that's how you fix a Kenmore HE series or a Whirlpool Duet series front load washing machine that's not filling with water and or giving the FH error code. So if you found this video to be helpful, make sure you hit the thumbs up sign.